But it will be a really exciting battle in the X30 Super Shifters. And we will have a word with the drivers down on the starting grid. It's been a really exciting battle in the Super Shifters. Okay, on paper, you may think, well, Sten Dorian Pinemargi's dominated all 4 races, hasn't he? Well, yes and no, because he's actually had a lot of challenge this weekend from the likes of Thierry Del Rey and Kevin Luddy. What he does have at his disposal, though, is that extra reserve of fighting power. And that's where he's able to get a little bit more from the kart, perhaps, than 2 of his opposition. So as we make our way onto the starting grid to have a chat to the drivers, of course, we are going to have a really exciting battle from the front as the drivers get themselves ready for action. Let's start at the back end of the grid this time as we fight our way forward. Barry Pullinger of Great Britain. It's been a nightmare weekend in some ways, but you've obviously been able to prove in some of the qualifying sessions that you have the pace to run at the front. You just need a bit more luck.
Yeah, we've had a good pace over the last couple of days. Just yesterday in the heat, we had a spark plug go, and then we had the water dumped out the engine and C. So not had the best of luck, but it's final now, so see what we can do.
Now there's a few drivers here you already know how to overtake quite well because you've done it a few times this season. Making progress. Can we see you towards the front end by the finish?
Yeah, hopefully I can get on the podium, top 3 or 4. That's my goal from here. So I think we've got the speed. Just need a bit of luck at the start. Fantastic.
Well, good luck, Barry. Have a great race.
Thanks.
So that is Barry Pullinger. Hopeful that he can move slightly further forward. It's going to be an interesting battle for all the drivers out here. And obviously we're going to see some great battles. Let's have a word with the man who won the Valencia Winter Cup back in February, Nico Rohrwasser. Nico, it's a tough race weekend here. There's been a lot of overtaking opportunities done on you and you've managed to do back. It's a very, very tough circuit though here, isn't it?
Yeah, this weekend it was very difficult for me because the track is difficult, the setup also, and the tires. We will see for the final. We'll do our best. We will see.
And obviously, with it being so closely matched, you've got at least 5 or 6 drivers who you will be battling with over the course of today. Making progress towards the front end, is there a chance we could see you on the podium?
Yeah, it's possible. We don't know in racing what happened, but I know it's difficult to overtake, but it's possible. We will see.
I have to say, a lot of this is going to come from the start, isn't it, as well? How important is getting that start right when there's only a short distance to turn 1?
Yeah, the start is very important in shifter karts, and we can win 2, 3, 4 places. We have to focus on it for the beginning of the race.
Fantastic. Good luck, Nico.
Thank you.
So Nico getting himself ready to go, and we'll see if we can have a word with a couple of the other drivers just before we get underway. Let's have a quick word with Kevin Luddy before the helmet goes on. Kevin, been a great weekend in terms of pace. You were matched in qualifying with Sten Dorian Pinemargi. Winning has been very, very tough, but you did win on the road in race 1, so it is possible this weekend.
Yeah, of course. It's all about the start. If we can have a good start and be in the front, then everything is possible for sure. But was it sure that Pinemargi has an incredible good pace, so we need to worry about this and to be there from the beginning when we want to catch him. And after it's also about, it's a long race, it's 18 laps the final, so it's going to be tough, but I think everything can happen. Hopefully we have a good start and can spoke a word for the victory.
And then, of course, there's the other guy over there, Thierry Del Rey, who's going to be a tough one to beat because he knows the circuit so well.
Yeah, I think both of them in front of me knows this track. They're almost like their homes here, so it's really tough. They know every corner, every place to defend. So, yeah, it's really hard to overtake. So I think it's important to have a good start in the race, and then we will see.
Thank you, Kevin. Good luck today.
Thank you very much.
So let's have a word with the man on the front row of the grid who knows this place very well indeed, Thierry Del Rey of the Mach 1 squad. Thierry, this is a good opportunity now from the front row of the grid. That start is going to be so critical. What have you got up your sleeve to deal with it?
Yeah, for sure the start will be very important. I think the only possibility is to take a good start, be first after the first corner, and then see what happens. But Stan is really quick, and we will do our best.
So obviously track knowledge is going to help you because you know this place very well. So there must be a few parts of the circuit where you have maybe more grip than some of the others out there.
Yeah, possible. I drive here a lot, but his team is from here, so it's 50-50.
Well, thank you, Thierry. Hopefully there's going to be a Belgian flag on the top step.
Thank you.
Okay, but the man who's obviously going to be the toughest one to take it away from is the man who's been in top form all weekend. 4 wins out of 4 so far, Sten Dorian Pinemargi. A bit like Sal Breeze, things are going quite well, but obviously the field has definitely been closer this time.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot closer, and I mean, the final is going to be interesting anyways, because we don't know how the new tyres are going to perform on these track conditions, because they're changing a lot. But yeah, I'm going to try my best, get a decent start, and then just 120% pushing it.
I guess you're not taking for granted the fact that you've won these races so far. You know how close it's going to be with Thierry and Kevin giving you so much pressure.
Of course, yeah. You got to take a race at a time. You can never take it easy, you know. Anything could happen. What if I have a puncture? What if?
Don't say things like that.
Yeah, you know, anything can happen in the sport. So take a race at a time, push as hard as possible, hope for the best.
Okay, well, good luck, Stendorien. Have a great race out there.
Thank you very much.
So that is the major players then in this final. We're now getting to the point where the drivers are really starting to focus in on the start. They've obviously got their pre-race procedures to think about. I don't want to get too close to these guys too early on. But with 5 minutes to go before the start of the X30 Super Shifter finals, it's going to be a really spectacular race from these. On pace.
Hi, I'm Tom Ingram and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Jacques Villeneuve. You're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Bruno Senna. You're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Chris Hoy and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Landon Norris and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
You're listening to Race Day Live on Downforce UK, brought to you by Clapham North MOT, Motorsport Days Live, Stopwatch Hospitality and Trade Price Cars. We're getting ourselves ready for the start then of this fantastic Super Shifter final, and it's going to be an absolutely terrific race. In this grid, we have some amazing talent, and they are going to battle out for the victory here. Standing start in the Super Shifter category, of course, and it's going to be really, really exciting to see how these guys will battle away for supremacy in these last three races of the day. And we will have some absolutely terrific displays from the drivers. And joining me in the commentary box for these last three races, just in the nick of time, is Fusion Motorsport young gun Rufus Hunt from the Senior X30 Brigade. Hello, Rufus. Good to see you.
Hi, Jake.
So tell us a little bit about what these guys are going to be going through. Obviously, having not done gearbox karting, but you've certainly done the formation laps. Obviously, the tension builds. Everything is going to be really, really hyped up. You obviously get those pre-race jitters. I mean, what's going through your head at this point of a race?
Well, I think they'll be thinking, oh, well, I hope there's not a crash. I need to just get a good getaway at the start. And I just think, I bet they're thinking that they hope they don't stall.
So obviously this is one of those difficult situations where you're trying to warm up the brakes, you're trying to warm up the tyres. Is there a bit of a fine balance for getting that formation lap procedure right and wrong? I mean, what do you have to do to make sure you don't overcook it?
Well, you have to just kind of go at about 3/4 race pace, because I think if you go flat out into the corners, then you're just going to overcook the tyres. But then again, if you go too slow, then the tyres aren't going to be warm enough. So
it's always going to be a very tricky one for these guys, because obviously they've had 4 races coming into this, but you know what it's like over the pace of a weekend when you're trying to do the best job you possibly can, especially for those drivers who are a little further back than they want to be. Let's look, for example, at people like Casper Corjus in 5th position, Nico Rohrwasser in 7th place, and perhaps the local Belgian contingent who would have thought that here on home soil they would have been further up. It must be really important to try and keep a balance of your nerves and keep your focus very, very calm at this point.
yeah, because you've just got to keep a positive mind, because you never know what could happen. Everyone could crash, or you could just get forward, and you've just got to have a positive attitude, and that's all you can think.
Now, obviously, as an enthusiast of karts as well as a racer in karts, you can tell us from many people who are watching at home probably for the first time, watching our Telemundi Media live stream, the start is so spectacular here, isn't it? You get such an absolutely incredible start in these karts, and it's absolutely amazing when you get to see these guys off the line.
Yeah, the start's so important, because especially in the gearbox karts, because you can get such a rip if you go into the right gear at the right time.
Stendorian Pedemaghi and Thierry Del Rey on that front row of the grid. Ludi and Leon on the second row. Then it's Corjus, Siva, Rohrwasser, Marchucci, Biffiger, Chalet, Pullinger and Diaz. We're getting ready for the off. The lights are on and raised, and they are off. A little bit of a creep from Leon, but Thierry Del Rey's made a spectacular start. Del Rey through into the lead from Carlos Leon, and Stendorian Pedemaghi down to 3rd. So Thierry Del Rey on home soil has got the start out of a Hollywood movie into the lead of this race. Kevin Ludi in 4th place from Corjus, and Philip Siva into 6th from Rohrwasser. Then it's the 2 Belgian contingents. They're in position. I think it is Marchucci in front of Chalet. Then we've got Barry Pullinger trying to make progress. He's already made up 1 position or 2. So it's an absolutely terrific start. But on home soil, that start is crucial, Rufus. When you're in the home country and you've got that kind of a start, everything flows from there.
Yeah, because you've just got to know what to do, and I think that Thierry knew what to do, and I think that's just the main thing. He knew what to do, and now he's in the lead, and he's just got to keep focusing on.
Second position is going to be a tough one to fight for, especially with Carlos Leon fired up. He is going to make it very tough on that first lap. And up the inside, Stendorian Pedemaghi, impossible to beat here. He makes his way through on the inside of Carlos Leon, makes it look easy, moves the kart just that couple of millimetres further across into the braking zone. You're never going to lose ground there. Absolutely sensational stuff. As now Stendorian Pedemaghi goes for the lead immediately on Thierry Del Rey. How did he do that so fast into the race? Incredible. So Pedemaghi, the Estonian, absolute lightning round this circuit. He's just got this absolutely bolted, Rufus. He is absolutely in charge of this category this year.
Yeah, I think he just got it sorted, to be honest. I've been watching him all weekend, and he's just been driving amazingly.
So now we've got Thierry Del Rey trying not to back up the field too much, but Carlos Leon in 3rd position wants a piece of the action. He's going for 2nd. Kevin Ludi's going to try and move on the inside. He can't quite make it happen. Casper Corjus tightens up in 5th position as well, but Leon is almost defending into turn 1, on the 3rd lap of the race. So Carlos Leon, very well aware that victory is not going to come his way, but 2nd would be a nice result. So he is really making things very, very difficult out there as they continue to battle away for supremacy. But what about this? Stendorian Pedemaghi has been able to go very, very far into this race very early on. And look at the gap he's pulling out on Carlos Leon. It's absolutely massive already. Leon in 2nd position. Del Rey is falling into the clutches of Kevin Ludi. And this will be frustrating for Kevin Ludi, who a lot of people are sensing is Stendorian Pedemaghi's main rival for the championship. Being stuck in 4th position, unable to go forward. It must be very, very frustrating for the drivers in the mix as they continue to battle away.
Yeah, I think that the lead is doing a great job, and I think it's very frustrating for Kevin Ludi because he can't get into the inside line. He's just getting blocked by everyone.
Oh, and Corjus has managed to make the move on him. So Corjus has got through into 4th position, and that was a very brutal manoeuvre, and there's not a lot Kevin Ludi can do about it. He's just seeing points disappear position after position. The next one is going to be his teammate Philip Seaver, but with Stentorian Pitamagi in the 54.4s already, that is absolutely lightning. It's almost impossible to sense that Pitamagi isn't going to get this victory now. But Carlos Leon doing a fantastic job in second place here, Rufus. He's really strong, the Spaniard in second place.
Yeah, Carlos is doing a great job. I hope he has the speed to catch the leader because it will be an exciting race, but I can't see that happening.
Yeah, it just looks as though Pitamagi's just too strong in this phase of the race, to be fair. Carlos Leon doing his best and has managed to get a bit of gap between himself and Thierry Del Rey. This is a very good performance from Carlos Leon. Don't forget, his first ever time in the gearbox kart was back in Valencia 3 months ago on home soil, so he had a home advantage, but it's so hard to get used to these gearbox karts quickly. And Leon, the youngest man in the field, still only about 17 or 18, I think, Carlos Leon, he's doing an amazing job considering.
Yeah, he's doing a great job because he probably raced seniors before and it's just such a different category. You've got the gears and everything.
So obviously it's going to be a really interesting battle as things continue on between these guys. Thierry Del Rey now struggling to hold off Casper Corjus, who is now giving an amazingly intense battle. It's going to be a really interesting challenge for them as they continue to scrap away. But Del Rey is there in front of Casper Corjus and Kevin Luddy. So with Corjus and Luddy trying to move forward, Thierry Del Rey, well, he knows every single patch of racetrack around this part. So he's really going to struggle because he knows every single millimetre of every single apex of this course. And that's where he really has the advantage over some of the other drivers.
Yeah, because I think the most important thing about this is when you know the circuit, you just got it pinned. And I think it's quite hard for some of the other drivers because obviously I don't think Mariembourg's been on the calendar for that long with this Euro Series.
So obviously with it being new and some of the drivers having not visited it much, I mean, Thierry Del Rey was saying, well, yes, this is in my home country, but the guys up at the front, Stentorian Pitamagi's team, they practically live here. So it's always very tough because this is practically a back garden for Stentorian Pitamagi. So all the more impressive how well he did at Salbris then, because in terms of the championship, you always want to do as good as you can on your home turf. But this one was always going to be an easy one to lose. So Stentorian Pitamagi stamped his authority on it very quickly.
Yeah, I think it's just all about championship points. I think you've just got to get consistent results. And that's what the leader's doing, and that's really good for him.
So the battle for third position, still very close. Thierry Del Rey is trying to utilise that incredible start he got and try and push further forward, but he's really finding it difficult to shake off Casper Corjus right now. Fifth place, Kevin Luddy, very frustrated here, no doubt, in fifth position. The fastest lap of the race has just gone to Carlos Leon, though, as he tries to chip away into Stentorian Pitamagi. Could the tide be turning, maybe?
I think that Carlos has just seen that little bit of a gap, and I think he just wants it to get closer and closer so it can be a good race.
It's a challenge, isn't it? He wants to make it happen. Carlos Leon trying to step up to the plate and have a go for the victory if he can. Still this three-way battle, very close indeed. Thierry Del Rey, Casper Corjus and Kevin Luddy working very hard indeed. Philip Seaver there in sixth position from Rohrbassett, Marchucci, Pullinger, Biffiger, Chalet and Joao Diaz. There's your race leader though, Stentorian Pitamagi. Carlos Leon, to be fair to him, he is getting that gap down. I mean, it's only a little bit here and there, but there's a long race, as Stentorian Pitamagi said. It's not over yet. And Carlos Leon, well, he is chipping away at it. I want to look at his sector times. Let's see what he is doing at the moment. He is a whisker quicker than Stentorian Pitamagi in the first sector, and he was quicker in the last lap. The gap has come down to 1.1, so if Carlos Leon's up for the fight and he's got good confidence underneath him, this might not be over yet.
Yeah, I think that Carlos has just found that little bit of a struggle that he might be having earlier in the weekend, and I think he's just got that out of him, and now he's just pushing and pushing for the leader.
So as they come through once again, this is the battle for third place. Del Rey, Corjus and Luddy, and they are just absolutely nailed together. There's almost an invisible chain dragging them around in the same distance apart because Del Rey is just proving to be a mobile roadblock at the moment to Casper Corjus. Cannot find a way through at the moment, the Estonian, as he continues to push forward. Is there going to be a chance to break forward into the top three? Because Casper Corjus will really want to gain some championship points back after some difficult times at Salbris. But if he can get there into the top three past Thierry Del Rey, that's definitely going to be a big confidence booster. But the Belgian contingent here will want their local man to be in the top three without any shadow of doubt. And Corjus is really starting to get into it. But he is chipping away at it. You know, the sectors are coming down. Carlos Leon's just set the fastest first sector of anybody in the first sector. So he's definitely up for it.
Yeah, he's doing brilliantly. He's just, like I said, he's just chipping away slowly, and he's just getting there, just getting faster and faster.
Yep, there is the gap. Look, it's definitely not as big as it was. Stendorian Pidimargi might have thought, well, this race is all done and dusted. He hasn't looked back for a while. Will he know that Carlos Leon is chipping away at it? Well, I suppose to a certain degree, as you look down the straight, you can quickly flick up at the digiboard, can't you? How much do you see when you come down that main straight?
Well, I guess even in the shifters carts, you're going a lot faster, but I think you can just have a nice little flick up and just look at how much you've got left. So I think the leader might be saving his tyres, but we'll have to see.
We need to come up with a way so that the spectators and mechanics can still see that digiboards, but you drivers can't. It ruins races when they suddenly realise, OK, I need to jog on a little bit. We are at the halfway point in the race, though. 9 laps down, 9 to go. And this is going to be very intense from here on in because Carlos Leon has risen to the challenge. He has taken the bait and he is still consistently a little bit quicker than Stendorian Pidimargi in each sector. The last time by only 0.003 of a second quicker, but he's quicker too in the second split. So Carlos Leon is doing his best. Or otherwise, this could be Stendorian Pidimargi doing what he does best. He's a calculated racing driver. Perhaps he's backing off a little bit, just reserving the kart just that little bit. Maybe easing into the brakes a little bit, not having to push them too much. Is he just controlling his rhythm here? Is he allowing Carlos Leon a glimmer of hope and only to have it dashed?
I think that the leader knows that he's got a big gap, and I think he might have a little bit more in the bag for Carlos Leon to deal with.
So for third position still, it's now Thierry Del Rey and Casper Corjus only, because Ludi has not been able to keep pace with them. Look, the gap has definitely opened up between those two. It must be bitterly frustrating when you know on paper you've got just as good a kart as the guy in front of you, but for whatever reason the balance just isn't coming, whether it's running in traffic, whether it's trying to make an overtaking move and not managing it. That must be so frustrating when you know in your mind and you're in that battle and you can win that third position, no problem. You're just not able to stay with the back of that queue.
Yeah, it's so frustrating because it happens a lot to a lot of drivers, and I just think sometimes it's just not underneath you, the kart, and I just think even though you've got the potential, it just doesn't happen on that race.
So with the super shifters continuing on, Carlos Leon is definitely chipping away at the gap now. It's only 0.8 of a second now, so Carlos Leon has taken a gap which was nearly 2 seconds down to 0.8. This could just be Stendorian Pidimargi lulling him into a false sense of security, but at the moment it is still very even. But for the first time in a few laps, Stendorian Pidimargi has gone quicker than Carlos Leon in the first sector, only to the tune of 0.03 of a second, so it's not very comparable. But it does give the lie to the fact that maybe Carlos Leon is being shown a great opportunity here, and Stendorian Pidimargi is trying to sweep in and take it away. This is going to be a close battle, though, the third position mark. But in the gearbox karts on such a twisty, complex circuit, it's very hard to get that run, to get onto the back of somebody and really go for an overtaking move. So Corjus will be getting frustrated here, but there isn't really a lot he can do about it except just continue to doggedly push Thierry Del Rey in the hope he might make a mistake.
Yeah, it's just very hard in these gearbox karts because not like in other karts when you just put your foot flat on the throttle and it goes. You have to be so precise with the gear changes, and one thing wrong and you're done for.
Well, the gap's come down again between the leaders. Carlos Leon has chipped away even more, although Pidimargi has responded with the fastest first sector of anybody. So Carlos Leon has not given up. Stendorian Pidimargi is still pushing on. I wonder if Carlos is feeling aggrieved I didn't speak to him on the grid, because I was talking to the drivers who I thought might be in the mix for the victory. Carlos Leon had other ideas, but this is a great run from the Spaniard. Look at how the fact he is pulling away from the likes of Del Rey, Corjus and Ludi. This is not a bad drive at all from Carlos Leon. Even if he finishes second to Stendorian Pidimargi in this one, he can be incredibly proud of what he's done. Look at the gap he's pulled. It's brilliant.
Yeah, he's doing really, really well, to be fair to him. I think he's just thought, this is the final, I want to win. And I just think he's pushing and pushing and just improving every single lap.
Well, considering how frustrating a time he had on home turf at Valencia in the non-championship Winter Cup, and then last time out at Salbris, he didn't have the weekend he wanted. Look, he's chipping away into the 54.086, and the best lap from Stendorian Pidimargi is a 54.2. So Carlos Leon, with 5 laps to go, is definitely not out of it. He thinks he can win this race on Stendorian Pidimargi, and every time the Estonian has tried to respond, in actuality, Carlos Leon is the one who's coming back with more speed.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised because I thought that the leader would have more in the bag, but I think Carlos Leon actually he's just chipping away. And I don't know how he's got so much pace. It's unbelievable.
Now, the question has got to come from that Nassau on the front of the car, the new one. You could see it there with the groove and the number board covering over the top of the air hole. But this is a really interesting battle because some people have said, I don't really feel the difference. Others saying it gives me as much as a tenth of a second balance in the gaggle of karts. But this is the class, really, where that new panel will really have the most impact because these karts are super fast. Is Carlos Leon getting a benefit from that potentially?
I think maybe because a lot of people have been saying that it helps when you're behind people with the front end. So I think maybe because the leader's not behind anyone, he's just sliding around a little bit and Carlos is just getting the momentum and the grip.
Half a second is now the gap, and with 4 laps to go, well, 3.5 now, Carlos Leon may be running out of time, but I tell you what, he's setting us up with a bit of a showdown here. I do not think Stentorian Pirimagi thought that his closest opposition today in the final was going to come from Carlos Leon. He thought probably Thierry Del Rey or Casper Corjus or Kevin Luddy, but not Carlos Leon. It's great to see the teenage boy wonder from Spain really giving it to the Estonian.
Yeah, I'm not even sure whether the leader's even looked behind yet, because it doesn't even look like he's pushing any harder. But I just think as soon as he knows that Carlos Leon's there, I think he might start defending and it will be very hard for him to get past.
Well, the difficulty is you don't want to spend too much time looking back because then you start to have doubts in your mind. And Pirimagi is one of those drivers with composure who will want to keep that solid wall of concentration unbroken. But he will certainly see signals from the pits. They'll be telling him what the gap is doing, whether it's decreasing or whether it's increasing. And he will know that Carlos Leon, surely he must know now with Leon right on his back. He'll know just how much pressure he is under. The second that engine behind you gets louder, you really start to feel that pressure. What's it like when you're in the cockpit and you know you've got someone chasing you down and there is not a lot you can do about it except just keep pushing?
Well, you can get quite nervous, but I think when you just get used to it, and I think the main thing is you've just got to not look behind, because look behind is literally just basically saying, oh yeah, go past me. So I just think you just got to keep your focus and just believe in yourself.
2 laps to go, and we could get the ultimate X30 Super Shifter showdown here. Carlos Leon, the pretender to the throne, is going against the dominant king of X30 Super Shifters in 2018. He has won everything thus far this year, Stentorian Pirimagi. Every championship session he has been at the top of. In race trim, he has won. He didn't win on the road earlier this weekend, of course, but a penalty for Kevin Luddy meant that Stentorian Pirimagi picked up the win anyway. But this is going to be a real test of his powers. Can Carlos Leon, who is getting very close to him there in the braking zones, has he got what it takes to put one over on Stentorian Pirimagi in the Eurokarting team's backyard? This would be a great run if he could get there.
Yeah, I'd really like Carlos Leon to win, because I do think he's driven better than the leader, because he's caught up, but I have a bad feeling that he's not going to be able to do it, because the leader's just... he's actually pulled a bit of a gap away now, and I think he's just going to defend for the rest of the race.
Yeah, it's 1 lap to go, and to be fair, that is a big gap he's got to come away from, but Carlos Leon is doing everything. He's throwing everything he possibly can at the race leader and the championship leader, Stentorian Pirimagi. Is he going to have one final lunge? He's got to go very carefully through this complex. He's got to get absolutely perfect apexes every time. The braking points have got to be meticulous. He's got to keep drilling every single apex in the hope that there's a mistake from Stentorian Pirimagi. So far, there isn't. Carlos Leon is still working his magic, and I think he's going to get there. Down the straight, up towards 16, the right-hander, square right. Carlos Leon has done an absolutely amazing job, but he can't beat Stentorian Pirimagi today. The Estonian has done it, and that's 2 wins out of 2 at Salbris and at Mariembourg. Stentorian Pirimagi given an amazing challenge by Carlos Leon. No one can take away from him how tough he fought. But that was absolutely amazing. And look at that. Great to see the camaraderie between these two. There's a great spirit in this championship. The X30 Super Shifters love their racing, but they have a lot of great respect between each other as well. And I think Stentorian Pirimagi, that win will mean a lot to him because he was under so much pressure for so long.
Yeah, I think he dealt with the pressure really, really well, because obviously he would have been getting a lot of signals from the pits. But I actually saw on that last lap that he got a purple sector, so maybe he did actually have more in the bag that we didn't know about.
Very true. Stentorian Pirimagi doing everything he needed to do to get the victory. Carlos Leon in second place from Thierry Del Rey and Casper Corjus. Philip Seaver and Kevin Luddy in the top 6 from Nico Rohrwasser. The Brit Barry Pullinger comes through to 8th place with Michel Bifiga, Leonard Chalet and Joao Diaz finishing off with, sadly, a retirement for the local man Doriano Marchucci. But what an amazing run for Stentorian Pirimagi. Back-to-back victories in the finals in the European Championships. And that gives you bags of confidence, Rufus.
Yeah, I think it'll just make him feel so good and it will just make. And the key thing with karting is just that you've got to have the confidence, because if you don't believe in yourself, then nothing's going to work out.
Well, do stick around, Rufus, because we have two brilliant races to come, particularly the ones you know all about, the junior and... So now time to head into the action for the Junior X30 final. And the drivers will be coming to the grid very soon indeed. And we'll have some absolutely terrific races to talk about for the last two races of the day in Junior and Senior X30. But the Junior battle in particular, everybody is very excited to see how these guys will do. It's been absolutely amazing thus far. But now we come to the main event with the drivers bringing their karts out onto the circuit. I will try and go up and down the length and breadth of the grid, talking to a few of the drivers. I'm not trying to be big-headed or anything, but I might have the best job in the world. Just saying. This is an amazing sight down here on the front straight, looking at all these incredible drivers as they gear up for the Junior X30 final. Let's have a word with a couple of them before they get started. Lewis Gilbert, pole position, championship leader coming into this. Really, really excited to see you here on the front row. What can we do from here?
I think we're going to try and win, but it's all about getting points for the championship, really.
So let's have a look at it from the point of view of the fact that there's going to be about 5 or 6 drivers in the mix there trying to get the victory off you. Where do you think that this is going to be a strong car?
I think we're just strong overall. I think we'll be fast quick straight away because we've got the newer tyres, so hopefully we'll get away at the start.
And have you found that the balance is slightly better going back to the old Nassau potentially?
There's no difference.
No difference. Okay, thanks, Lewis. Well, Marty's already got himself in the cart. I don't want to disrupt his concentration as he gets himself through. Josh Rowledge is there in the cart. He's ready to go from the second row. Max Meyer, one of the other British chargers. Let's have a quick word in there with Alex Lloyd as he gets himself ready for the action. Alex, I know it's been a tough weekend so far, but look, you're right up in the top 10. It's been an amazing weekend for you considering. How are things at the moment?
Well, it's just tough. I managed to start here, but if I can make my way up to the front, I'll be within a chance to get in the win or a podium.
You've had some fantastic overtaking opportunities and you've really maximised it with this particular car. Things are going really well with the DHR team. Where do you think you can be strong? You have to think about that. You're really, really tired. I understand this, I know, but there's just one more race to go. Hopefully we'll talk to you on the podium later. Have a good one.
Thank you.
You've got to understand here that Alex Lloyd is working so hard. He's not feeling very well at all. And to be fair, the fact he's even on this starting grid is fairly impressive. Delano Van Toff is just here. As we get the whistle, I'm just going to quickly grab in for Delano. Delano, right in the top 10, still a good chance to move forward. Can we see a podium from you?
Yes, I think so.
Okay, so where do you think the battle is going to come from? Do you think you can make progress forward, or is there going to be a few drivers from behind who will want to take it away from you?
Yeah, Josh McLean's pretty fast. I mean, pretty much all the drivers behind me are quick, but we'll see.
Okay, good luck. Have a great race.
Thank you.
So there we go. I've been given the final call to get off the racetrack, unfortunately. Pardon?
French.
You want to talk in French? Laurence Lequerta is right here on home soil. Laurence, tu aimes le Mariembourg circuit?
Oui.
And quelle position à la finale?
Ici, je pars 12 et j'aimerais bien remonter sur le podium, mais ça va être dur.
Okay. Premier 3?
Pardon?
1, 2, 3?
Maximum 3, ça serait bien.
Okay, merci bien, Laurence. So Laurence is definitely going for that top 3 on the podium. He senses he's got a chance to do it on home soil. It's a very important race for him, of course, as he tries to fight his way further forward. But he is one of those drivers who's got the speed to make it happen. Watch some of these drivers in the middle field as well. We've seen some really important performances, particularly from Alicia Barrett, who did so well in the second chance heat, got herself to the victory. Some of these guys are going to be very impressive to watch. Noah Maton will definitely be a strong driver as he works his way forward. The Flying Scotsman, Cian Shields, should be a very exciting prospect from the back of the field as well. Watch out for the Flying Scotsman. He's going to be red hot from the start. And from his point of view, being in that position as well, there is nothing to lose. So he will be charging forward with gusto right from the off. But there's going to be some really intense action. And we'll be able to talk to some of these drivers' teammate in just a moment up there in the commentary box. Because I finally have a co-commentator. I've been needing one for quite a while, to be fair. Because you're all getting fed up of my voice all day long. So it'll be a great opportunity to chat to one of the drivers within the Fusion Motorsport fold who can tell us a little bit about what the atmosphere is like within that particular team as well. Rufus Hunt joining me on commentary once I've got up to the commentary box again. Somebody really needs to give me one of those electric scooters, I think. But great racing it's going to be when we finally get into my position. There we are. I found my commentary box now. Oh, it's nice and cool in here. You don't really notice that until you've been out and about. But great to see a very busy grid there, Rufus. And I have to say, it's going to be very, very interesting to see these guys doing such a good job out there on the circuit. But it's so close in this Junior X30 grid. And your teammates are in the mix there. How do you think this is going to work?
Well, I hope it goes well for them. I'm really impressed with Max Meyer this weekend because he's normally doing very well. He's very, very fast in testing, but he sometimes gets a bit confused in the races and might not get the result that he deserves. But this weekend has really shown Max's true talent.
Lewis Gilbert and Marty Boyer on the front row. Sam Balota and Josh Rowledge on the second. Enzo Juliet and Remo Kanapik on the third from Max Meyer and Alex Lloyd. Delano Van Hoff and Tom Uzan. Jacek Spinkovic and Laurence Lequerta, who we spoke to briefly on the grid. Josh McLean and Ollie Pilker. William Nicolo and Tom Leben. Ken Oscar Algra and Linus Janssen. Daniel Gregor and Victor Lapardo de la Rosa. Zach Ripley and Josh Ratican. Helen Nordini and Herbert Moore. From Jason Young, Alessandro Tedesca, Lois Del Bar, Eric Alanis Bosch, Alicia Barrett, Noah Maton, Liam McNeely, Cian Shields and Ronan Patrick Hackala. This is going to be a very interesting battle because we've got 34 world-class drivers on that grid. And as you say, Max Meyer, it's been a really strong weekend for him. He'd be even further up the grid, let's not forget, had he been able to get out in his third heat from pole position. So we're not really sure how far up this grid Max Meyer can go.
Yeah, it was a real shame that Max couldn't start in that race because, like I said, he's been really good this weekend. But I guess that's just the look of racing sometimes, I'm afraid, so...
That's happened to you on a few occasions, hasn't it? When you've been starting a race and you just end up having to go nowhere. That must be such a nasty moment.
Yeah, it's just heartbreaking because you're like, oh yeah, I know I can do well in this race. I know I can do well. And then when you just press that starting button and nothing happens, you're just like, oh no.
Well, that's one polite way of putting it. But obviously, it's going to be very interesting in the opening laps of this race. I noticed there are a few drivers out there that are deliberately on old tyres coming into this final. Now, obviously, there's a performance benefit to that in the middle part of the race. In the first couple of laps, that could be a really interesting battle for them.
Yeah, because there's been a few problems with tyres this weekend, I've been hearing, because apparently new tyres, some people can't just get the grip out of them and can't get them to come on, but I think new tyres will definitely be the thing to choose on the start of the race because they've just got so much more initial grip. But I think as the tyre wears out, it will get too hot for the new tyre, and I think the old tyre will gain the time back.
Well, two drivers in particular at the front end that are on those old compounds of tyres are Marty Boyer on the front row of the grid and Rimo Kadapik on the third row. So that's going to be interesting to see what they can do from here. But it's Gilbert, Boyer, Balota, Rowledge, Juliet, Kadapik, Meyer, Lloyd, Van Toff and Uzan in that top 10 with plenty of drivers outside the top 10 wanting to come forward. The waiting is over. The engine revs have risen and we're going to go racing this time. It's going to be a beautiful start from Lewis Gilbert into the first corner and round the outside. Marty Boyer continues to hold the grip and so the two of them look like they're going to get out in front. Third position, Josh Rowledge trying to make his way through round the outside of Sam Balota, and he's made it stick. Great work from Josh Rowledge. Rimo Kadapik tightening in behind Enzo Juliet. Everybody's through cleanly the first three corners into turn 4. A little bit of jostling, but that's perfectly okay. No dirty manoeuvres so far as everybody continues on. We got somebody off on the grass there. Now that looks to me like one of the FA racing carts that came off. I think that was Erbelts Moore, the 64, who went off there and has recovered. But an amazing scrap at the front already. It's Gilbert, Boyer, and then Rowledge and Balota. Those four are trying to break clear early doors.
Yeah, I think it's just important because what normally happens is once it starts out the way and everybody settles down, it's just the top 5 that eventually get a gap.
So now Lewis Gilbert doing his utmost to hold on to this lead. He won the final at Soubries, don't forget. Boyer's going for it early, and Rowledge could go with him. He has done. So Boyer takes the lead. Rowledge in a second. Gilbert straight back on the offensive to Rowledge and Boyer. But Boyer keeps it light on the way through the tight apex, and he has kept it into the lead. But Gilbert's back through. Rowledge is through. Balota is nearly through. Goodness me, Boyer working very hard indeed there, but down to third position. Lewis Gilbert and Josh Rowledge clearly wanting to use their knowledge of their own abilities in the national championships in Britain. They know each other very well, so they will have raced together a few times, so they will want to use each other's knowledge and wisdom to move further forward and get away.
Yeah, because they know each other and they know how each other races from watching back home in the UK. And Mario Boyer doesn't have that same amount of knowledge, so I think that's where he lacks.
Is it always quite difficult when you're the only person from your nationality when you're up at the front and you're trying to look for a colleague to work with, and it's very difficult to sort of break down that communication barrier?
Yeah, it's quite difficult because in every country, from Belgium to Spain and from France to Italy...
That's Rowledge going through. Sorry, Rivers, I didn't want to cut you off there, but Rowledge coming through for the lead. Gilbert trying to get away, and also Juliet is up the inside of Marty Boyer. Boyer's going to go the long way round to hold him off. And Rimo Kadapik's going to tighten in his grip on the back of Sam Balota. Here come the Fusion carts. What a great run this is from Delano Van Toff. He's got in front of Max Meyer. And the two of them, again, teammates working together. And your guys are really, really good at doing this.
Yeah, I think it's just... The main thing is just to work together and they'll be getting the signals off the grandstand. But I think you work together for the whole race and then on the last 2 laps, the race is yours.
So Josh Rowledge out in front, second position Lewis Gilbert, third place Marty Boyer, having a great run in the early stages, fourth place Enzo Juliet, and in fifth position Sam Balota, the local man. But the Brits are flying the flag, the Union flag high at the moment from Lewis Gilbert, in second position from Josh Rowledge. With Rowledge in the lead for the Strawberry Racing team. He looks back over his shoulder. Here comes Enzo Juliet on the inside of Marty Boyer, and Sam Balota's going to try and get through as well. Marty Boyer down to fifth position, and here comes Max Meyer. Oh no, sorry, that's Delano Van Toff. Van Toff has gone through past Remo Kadapik, and now Max Meyer will be the next one to charge forward. There's another fusion in there. That's Josh McLean having made some ground. Just looking away through the field to see a few of the others having made their mark on the race. There's a few drivers who are moving forward. Alicia Barrett's made up a few places. Kean Shields made up 5 places as well. 6 places, actually. Josh Ratican, yet again, no luck for Josh Ratican at all. He's right down at the back of the field once again. What does that guy have to do to cut a break?
Yeah, I've been watching Josh all weekend, and he's been really fast. He's been catching the leaders. He's as quick as anyone, but I just don't think this weekend's his weekend.
So Josh Rowledge leading the way from Lewis Gilbert, Marty Boyer, Enzo Juliet and Sam Balota in the top 5. And it looks like we've had an off somewhere as there's one cart all alone down at the back. That is the 90... I think it's the 36 actually. That's Zach Ripley who's on his own down at the back as Gilbert has taken back the lead. Rowledge trying to get back on the inside. Stop scrapping amongst each other, guys. Just get away. Spend the last 2 laps fighting, but Rowledge wants the lead of the race. Gilbert second place. Juliet, Balota. Here comes Boyer. He's going to dive up the inside of Balota, and Delano Van Toff's going to keep the door open and get through as well in a 5th place. Good work from Delano Van Toff. He's really good at sizing up these opportunities. We saw that at Salisbury's in BF International a couple of weeks ago. He was really, really strong there, and he seems to have got it here again. Gilbert up to the lead once more on Rowledge. Then it is Juliet in 3rd position. Well, apparently the warning flag going out to Josh Ratican, so whatever it was that's put him down at the back, he's got a warning flag for it. That's a real shame. That's a bit like being kicked in the ribs when you've got a broken nose, personally. I never like those sort of things. He's already done the punishment by dropping all the way down to the back. We've had somebody off. Now, who's that's come off there on the far side? Somebody very slow on the way through, about to lose a ton of places as they come through this time by. Who is it that's dropped a long way? That looks like Josh McLean has dropped back into about 26th position. So McLean's had an absolute nightmare on that lap. Several drivers falling down the order, including actually the 19 of Max Meyer lost a bit of ground there, but he is still running around up towards the top end. He's in 8th place behind Balota. Alex Lloyd in 9th. Tom Uzan in 10th. Then it is Nunadini, Algra, Leung, Nicolo, Spinkovic, Pelka, McNeely, Tudiska, Leben, and into the top 20 comes Kean Shields. So he's absolutely on it. That kid has got bags of talent, hasn't he? It's great to see that he's joined the Fusion team.
Yeah, Kean's always been good. He was good with his past team, and I just think he's an all-round good driver. But I just think, same with a few other drivers, it just hasn't been his weekend this weekend, and he's just struggled. But I think now he's showing his true talent.
For the lead, Enzo Juliet comes through past Josh Rowledge. He gets the place. So Enzo Juliet hits the front for the first time since the qualifying heats. And now Lewis Gilbert tied into 3rd position has Marty Boyer and Delano Van Toff right in behind him. Remo Kadapik losing ground, trying to make his way through as Rowledge again tries to hold off Lewis Gilbert. Gilbert spends too long worrying about Boyer, and that's going to be Delano Van Toff around the outside of Boyer. What a move from the Flying Dutchman.
Yeah, Delano's doing a great job. I just think he's got something in his head and he's just like, I can win this, and he's just constantly making up ground.
Well, now Lewis Gilbert is there in 3rd position, trying to get back the time he's lost to Enzo Juliet and Josh Rowledge. Rowledge in 2nd place, going good guns at the moment as they continue on in the top 5. But this is the halfway point. At the end of this lap, we will have had 7 done and 7 to go. And this is going to be the crunch time for these guys. Enzo Juliet still leads the way here from Josh Rowledge, Lewis Gilbert, Delano Van Toff now in 4th position, and Marty Boyer slipping back down the order. Here comes Delano Van Toff again on the inside of Lewis Gilbert. Through to 3rd position goes the Dutchman. Marty Boyer, meanwhile, has fallen into the clutches of Remo Kadapik. Kadapik's up the inside. Balota's up the inside as well. This is a big problem for Marty Boyer, who has fallen down a couple of places. So it's all going to be very, very tough as they continue to battle away for position. But Marty Boyer has fallen back into the 2nd chasing pack. He's now down to 7th place. So it's Enzo Juliet, Josh Rowledge, Lewis Gilbert and Delano Van Toff. But Van Toff has now broken into 3rd position, as we saw on the inside there of Lewis Gilbert. So it is now Enzo Juliet, Josh Rowledge, Delano Van Toff and Lewis Gilbert. A great start to this race from these guys. And now they're in the 2nd half of the race, the 2nd phase, if you will. And this is where things are going to get really interesting.
Yeah, because they've settled down into their rhythm now, and then as the laps count down, they're just going to be thinking about defending and keeping their position. But then again, the people who aren't in the lead just need to catch up Enzo Juliet.
So this is Rimo Kadapik through into 5th position on Sam Balota. Marty Boyer trying to fight back. Alex Lloyd in there as well. They rub wheels for 5th position, Balota and Kadapik. Goodness me, a puff of smoke, and through into 7th has come Alex Lloyd. Alex Lloyd still coping with that incredible hardship. When you're ill and you're trying to be at the front end of this field, it can be so difficult to concentrate. But his determination, his resolve to keep pushing on is incredibly admirable.
Yeah, it's really hard when you're ill because you're concentrating so much on the racing, and when you're ill you just don't have the brain power or the willpower just to actually get on with it. So Alex is doing a very good job.
The only retirement from the race thus far, up at turn 5, is the German Dan Gregor. So Daniel Gregor, unfortunately, out of the race. But there's your race leader, Enzo Juliet, looking to sweep a final victory out from under the noses of the championship favourites. Josh Rowledge in 2nd place, having a great run. Delano Van 't Hoff in 3rd position. Noah Maton is given the warning flag. Not sure what that's for, but he's trying to charge his way forward. And to be fair to him, Noah Maton is up into 26th place now as Rimo Kadapik defends valiantly from Alex Lloyd. That's another frustration for Rimo Kadapik. He should be at the front end of this field based on practice on Friday because he was the fastest driver of all through the practice sessions. Only Max Meyer was quicker than him over the course of the day when we came to qualifying. So Rimo Kadapik having a very frustrating day at the office in 6th place when ultimately, in terms of one lap pace, he could be, and possibly you could argue should be, up amongst these top 4.
Yeah, well, Kadapik's had a very unlucky weekend because he spun out on one of the races and he was very annoyed about that because when you have the pace and it just doesn't go well for you, it's just so frustrating.
Sam Balota is the new fastest man in the 2nd sector. Noah Maton goes even faster. And as we go into the final 4 laps of racing, Enzo Juliet has daylight between himself and Josh Rowledge as Delano Van 't Hoff defends from Lewis Gilbert. But if these guys want to win the race, they need to settle their differences and work together. And that is not happening. So Josh Rowledge in 2nd place is going to have to work on his own to close up on the Frenchman. But Lewis Gilbert working hard. Delano Van 't Hoff just gives him the signal. Come on, mate, work with me. But you've been there a million times, Rufus, when the guy behind you, you've just been overtaken by them and he says, OK, now work with me. That's the last thing you want to do in that point. You just want to get him back.
Yeah, I just think that's so frustrating when that happens.
Oh, Gilbert's through, though. Gilbert has done the hard work there and got past Delano Van 't Hoff. Absolutely terrific there. Up to 3rd position he goes. And really exciting run now for the championship leader back on the podium. He said anything in the top 3 is good. It keeps my championship points tally high. I'm happy with that. So the man from Dalry has put himself into a good position there in 3rd place. But Enzo Juliet leads the way here. The Frenchman out in front of Josh Rowledge and the 3rd place man, Lewis Gilbert. Things going very well for those 3. Looking good at the moment. But here comes Alex Lloyd charging after Rimo Kadapik. Kadapik, the Estonian, still running well. But Marty Boyer is stuck in behind them. It's a very surprising weekend for Marty Boyer. But here comes the next man in, Max Meyer. He has got to be one of the ones to watch in these final 2 or 3 laps because his pace around here is absolutely stunning.
Yeah, Max has done a brilliant job, and I know that he can get a few places on these drivers because he's been driving one of the best that I've ever seen him drive, and I'm really pleased with him.
Sam Balota in 5th position there. Fastest of all in the 1st sector, Sam Balota. So he still senses that 4th position is possible. But all of a sudden, quietly getting on with the job. This man out in front, Enzo Juliet, has been absolutely incredible in the final phase of the day. He's just quietly got himself into contention, not really put himself under too much pressure. The man who was 4th in the European X30 Junior Championship last year. He is the 4th seed, of course. The 14-year-old from Montpellier has done an absolutely amazing job out in front. But Josh Rowledge in 2nd, Gilbert 3rd, keeps the Union flag high on that podium. And on the inside, Delano Van 't Hoff grabs 4th position back again from Sam Balota. These two are having a terrific scrap. But Sam Balota cannot get past Delano Van 't Hoff at the moment. 6th place is Kadapik from Lloyd, Boyer, Meyer, Uzan, Nuradini, Algra, Spinkovic, Leung and Tom Leben. Then we've got McNeely in front of Kian Shields. 17th place. He's gone through half the field.
Yeah, Kian Shields has done a brilliant job because he was near the back after a not very good final one, but now he's showing his true talent and doing really well.
I'll tell you what, the Flying Scotsman flying again. That's absolutely incredible how he's gone through half the field in 12 laps. He's not going to get the top 10 today, but I'll tell you what, you can't hide from me how good that drive is as we go into the final lap, and the man from Montpellier has done an amazing job here. Enzo Juliet fighting back after the frustration of getting into an incident earlier on with Luca Leistra. Now he is in contention, and this is going to be a fantastic end to his race. Enzo Juliet has really risen to the plate in the last race. He's gone on with this so quietly, almost in the shadows with everybody. Oh, there's contact further back. We've got an incident there as Jason Young makes contact with one of the Unique Racing carts and one of the Ike's Racing machines in there as well. I think that was the recovering Ken Oscar Algra in there with Josik Spinkovic and Jason Young. They all got in together, and that's tightened up the field further back. But here comes the Montpellier master. The 14-year-old has done an incredible job in this race. He's driven back from adversity, and now he is the winner here in Mariembourg. Enzo Juliet wins in fantastic fashion. What a drive from the Frenchman. Oh, terrific. Superb racing from Enzo Juliet. Magnifique from Montpellier. Oh, brilliant. Josh Rowledge second from Lewis Gilbert. 2 Brits on the podium. Sam Balota, the local man, is fourth from Delano Van Toff. But Enzo Juliet is numero 1 here in Mariembourg. A fantastic job as the raindrops are starting to fall in time for the Senior X30 race. Oh, thank you for spicing that up. But yes, there is rain starting to fall on the camera lens. I spotted a few drops, but it's going to be an amazing end to the race day if it carries on. But how about that result? Enzo Juliet quietly gets on with it into the victory. Josh Rowledge in second from Lewis Gilbert. Sam Balota in fourth from Delano Van Hoff. Remo Canopic, Alex Lloyd, Marty Boyer in 8th place. Tom Uzan and Max Meyer fights back to the top 10. Great job from him. Herudin Neradini and in 12th place Jason Young. Then it's Leben, Ratikan, Pilka, Nicolo, Hakala, Spinkovic, Tudiska and Delbar in the top 20. Then it's Ken Oscar Algra, Liam McNeely, Kean Shields out of luck on the last lap, losing a few places again, but still up to 23rd. Noah Maton, Erbelt Moore, Josh McLean, very unlucky in 26th place. Edgar Galanis Bosch, Linus Janssen, a good fight today from Alicia Barrett, the winner of the second chance heat, don't forget. Lawrence Lequerta, so unlucky today on home soil from Zach Ripley, with retirements unfortunately from Victor Pardo and Daniel Gregor. Such a close battle there, Rufus, and what a performance from Enzo Juliet, the Frenchman. He really did a great job there, quietly just getting on with it. While everybody else was losing their head and getting into battles with other drivers, he did an absolutely fantastic performance and really got himself into position. He just kind of crept into that race almost unnoticed.
Yeah, he was driving brilliantly. I just think the key to his win was just no mistakes, just keeping consistent, keeping his head down, not looking behind, and that's just what got him the win.
Fantastic. Well, you have a sit down, Rufus. We'll get ourselves ready for the Senior X30 race, as there is rain definitely in the air now. If it falls during this race or just before it, when these guys are all coming onto the grid with slick tyres, we're in for an amazing battle, aren't we? Fantastic prospect of an exciting race in front of us. So I'll head down to the grid and we'll prepare for the Senior X30 finale, the last race of the weekend. You're listening to Race Day Live on Downforce UK. Brought to you by Clapham North MOT, Motorsport Days Live, Stopwatch Hospitality and Trade Price Cars. The toughest battle of the weekend is about to get underway. The Senior X30 final here from Mariembourg. It's been an incredible road to get to this point. 70 drivers have been battling tooth and nail over the course of the weekend, and now we are ready for action in the Senior X30 final. Let's talk to a few of the drivers here on the starting grid. For a start, let's talk to Elie Goldstein, the top driver on pole position. Elie, this is going to be a really exciting race. You know the circuit very well. What can we expect from this final from you?
Yeah, I want to take the win here. The weekend is very important for me. Good performance.
And what does this mean to the family who are watching here? I mean, this is a very important weekend for all of the Goldsteins who are here watching you, and you want to put on a really good show.
Yeah, all the family looks at me in France, in Belgium here, and at home, and yeah.
So encore une fois for the win, yes?
Yeah.
Good job, bon chance.
Thank you.
So Elie Goldstein hoping to have a really good performance then for the Belgian contingent, but alongside him on the front row of the grid, I don't know how you keep doing this. Seriously, we've had so many races and you've been in the middle of the pack, and yet somehow the final, here you are on the front row again, Clayton Ravenscroft. I don't know how you do this, but you do it every time. It's going to be a really interesting final now.
Yeah, I just really try and keep my cool and just try and collect the points for the championship.
Well, let's not forget the fact you weren't even here on Friday until 7 p.m, so you missed all the testing and you've been able to knock the bolt on the kart very, very quickly and get yourself into a zone. How have you done it so fast?
I was just progressing and just following other drivers like Eli, and then just progressively getting better, and that's brought me to where I am in the final.
So now showtime, can we go one better?
Hopefully we can give Eli a run for his money.
What do you think about this rain that looks like it might break?
Could be exciting if it rains during the race, but I know that we're quite good when it rains while we're on slicks.
Is that code for bring it on?
Yeah.
Thank you, Clayton. Thanks very much.
No worries.
So there we go. So one person wouldn't mind at all if it rains. Let's go and have a word to the driver who's starting in third position on the starting grid, on fresh tyres, and going to have a really interesting race of it. Jordan Brown-Nutley, every single time we come into the battle in Senior X30, we always get to have this incredible run where you're in the mix of the top five every single time. How's it going to go for you?
Yeah, definitely. I think we've got the pace to win. Goldstein is very fast, but I think he can be beaten.
And this is one of those races where being on this second row of the grid on the inside line is going to be so important at the start, because you can have a really good track position from the off.
Yeah, being that it's a right-hand first corner, the front row sort of comes in front, but yeah, I think if you push away, you can get away, and yeah.
Where are you particularly comfortable on this circuit where you feel that you can really start to jog on a pace?
I think definitely the first sector is one of our strongest areas.
So basically it's now a question of follow him into turn one, and if he drifts right at any point, nail it.
Yeah, definitely.
I'll get ready to send you a stamp so you can lick it and send it. Good job.
Cheers, thank you.
Absolutely brilliant. So there we go, Jordan Brown-Nutley on that second row of the starting grid. We've obviously got the two Chaos Sport drivers deep in conversation. We've spoken to Joe Turney once already, so I'll see who else we can have a word with. Let's have a chat with Henke Waldschmidt on the third row of the starting grid. Henke, really good to see you at this point. There's been some great battles for you this weekend, some great challenges for the victory. Now we're in the final. Can we bring out your A game?
We will see. If I have the speed, maybe yes, but it will be tough.
Now, where do you have a really good handle of the kart on this circuit? It's a tricky circuit. Where are you strong?
For me, the first sector I'm strong. First and the second one. The last one, sometimes we struggle a little bit.
So obviously there's a long way to go in this fight. Can we see you on the podium at the end?
I do my best.
Good job. Good luck, Henke. So Henke Waldschmidt doing himself a good justice. We've just had the whistle. I think we've got time thus far, but you've been making progress all the way through. Now we're in the final. We're definitely at the sharp end of the field, but this is going to be a tough run to the first corner.
Yeah, well, I'm not really sure this bit's the sharp end of the field, but I'll try and make it up there best I can, but we'll see what happens. At least I can still speak at the minute, because I couldn't speak the other day. So that's good.
So now it's time to get your best overtaking prowess out the bag and see where you end up.
Yeah, see where we end up at the end.
Okay, good luck, Danny. Have a good race.
Cheers.
And just making our way down, obviously I'm well aware of the fact that we've only got 2 minutes to the start, so I need to get off the grid fairly quickly. The mechanics already have. I think I've outstayed my welcome a little bit, but The drivers are all raring to go, all 34 of them, and all of them in for a very good battle out here on the circuit. It's going to be a really exciting battle as the 34 drivers in Senior X30 for the final are going to give us what they hope and what we all hope is going to be the best race of the weekend. It's going to be a really tough battle, and these guys from all over the world as well. We've had international flavour of competition in the IAME X30 European Series from all four corners of the globe. From North and South America they have come, from Europe, from the Middle East, from Africa, and from Asia and Australia. They have all come to have an amazing battle in the international world of karting. And here are the second round of the European Series of IAME X30 at Mariembourg. A lot of them have risen to the plate in fantastic style. So now it's time to get the main race, the main event for the Senior X30s underway. And it's going to be an absolutely incredible race for them as they will get into the meaty part of the race action. This is the one that all of the drivers want to win, and they will do an absolutely fantastic job, even if they are in the top 10. When you consider that there's 70 drivers to race against, and you're in the sharp end. Rufus, you know all about that. Commiserations that you're not on this grid this time, but you know how tough it is when the quality of the field is this strong.
Yeah, there's so many drivers this weekend, and through all the Euro Series really, and it's just if you have one mess up, then your weekend's just so much harder.
And obviously you're in with a great team. We've obviously got the Fusion Motorsport team out there who've been supporting you over the course of the weekend. There are a couple of the drivers from the Fusion team out there on this final grid, of course, so it's going to be interesting to see how they make progress.
Yeah, it will be.
So, Eli Goldstein and Clayton Ravenscroft on the front of the grid from Jordan Brown-Nutley and Joe Turney, Vincent Marceau and Henke Waldschmidt, Siim Liedmar and William Godefroid, and then Ali Ackerby and Angus Moulsdale in the top 10. Isaac Valtonen and Niels Kuhlen, and then Philip Vava and Morgan Porter, and then we have Ruben Moyer and Danny Curl from Nicolas Pico and Milan Petele. In behind them, it is Rens van Pelt and Thomas Imborg, Noah Ruvers and Danny Budshu, Joey van Spunteren and Carlos Saval-Martin, Sebastian de Grand, Ben Fires, Sylvester Alexievas, Lee Valentucanto, Sean Butcher, Camille Bruteau, Owen Byatt, Felix Warga, and then Harry Platten and Thomas Fleming at the back of the grid. I'm going to ask you the hardest question I'm going to ask you while you're up in this commentary box now, Rufus. Pick a winner. I know that's really hard in this field. Pick a winner. Who do you think would do it?
Eli Goldstein, to be fair, because he's just... There's so many talented drivers in this field, but I just think that he's got the edge this weekend with just the raw speed that he has out front. He can just do time after time after time, and I think that's going to be very hard for the likes of Ravenscroft and Brown-Nutley to beat.
So obviously there's some really good talent at the field. We've seen the likes of Vincent Marceau and Henke Waldschmidt in the top 6 all weekend long as well. But with Siim Liedmar and William Godefroid in the mix, you've got also Ali Ackerby and Angus Moulsdale. Moulsdale has done a fantastic job since stepping up from junior champion to senior competitor, and he is right in the mix. There may be even the chance that Angus Moulsdale could find that top 5 today.
Yeah, Angus is a very good driver, especially in the European category, and he's just made a good step up to the seniors. I think he struggled a little bit at Salbury, had a few crashes, but now he's properly stepped up his game and back to where he normally should be.
So Eli Goldstein is hoping that this is going to be his hometown hero moment, because obviously we've had Belgians towards the front in every race, but thus far there has not been the Belgian victory. We've had Alejandro Melendez giving Spain a very worthy victory. We've had Estonian victory for Sten Dorian Piramagi, and now we've had a Frenchman take the victory in the Junior X30 for Enzo Juliet, the Montpellier master. But now it's time to see if we will get a fourth different nation, and will it be a home victory for Eli Goldstein? Everybody in Belgium and France, his family back home, will all be hoping so. So let's see how he goes. Alongside Clayton Ravenscroft, the Nigel Mansell of the IAME European Series. I don't know how he finds his way back up here every single time to the front, but here he goes. Let's go racing at Mariembourg for the last time today. And it's Goldstein into the first corner, no problem at all. Round the outside, Ravenscroft still got enough grip. They're going to be side by side by the time they get there. Ravenscroft superior braking. How did he find that on the outside? Ravenscroft takes the lead from Goldstein. Absolutely a sensational moment. And there's an off there for one of the BMR drivers. That looks like Thomas Fleming has gone off there at the back of the field in the 224. So he has recovered fairly quickly. We've got a couple of puffs of the dirt from elsewhere. But at the moment, it looks like a fairly clean start for this 18-lap encounter. but Ravenscroft is leading from Goldstein and Brown Nutley. Joe Turney in there in P4 from Henke Waldschmidt, the ex-Toyota Formula 1 test driver. How an amazing race this is going to be from the top 5. But where did Ravenscroft find that braking on the second corner? Unbelievable.
Yeah, that was a brilliant move by Clayton. I think he just thought, I've got this, and he just went in really hard and just found the grip, and it just paid off.
That's incredible. Well, that's going to unsettle Elie Goldstein, but he has to regroup, get himself up the order, and Joe Turney back in the lead as he dived up the inside there of, I think that was Ruben Moya. And unfortunately, he's ended up losing ground. There's more spots to get more rain in the air.
With him, so I know that he can make his way back up to the front.
Carlos Saval-Martin is currently sat in a low-down position at the moment. He's really struggled to make progress since the earlier second chance heat in 31st. He was given a warning flag that time by, unfortunately, Carlos Saval-Martin. But Clayton Ravenscroft, who was leading, is now in second position behind his teammate Joe Turney. Then in third, it is Brown Nutley. Fourth is Elie Goldstein. And fifth position for Henke Waldschmidt. William Godefroy is now up to sixth place in front of Niels Koolen. Then it is Ali Akabi, the Jordanian. And up the inside goes Jordan Brown Nutley to second place. Jordan Brown Nutley, but Joe Turney's going to get him right back again. And into second position he goes. Or actually, there's that Ravenscroft he's battling away with. My apologies. Yes, it is Ravenscroft battling away there for second position. That's given Joe Turney a little bit of distance. And that is the black and white flag, going up for Carlos Saval-Martin. Clayton Ravenscroft in second position behind his teammate Joe Turney. As far as he's concerned, that's perfectly fine and dandy. He wanted as many points in the championship as possible, and second place will definitely give him a good chance. But we have to remember the man who's not in this race, of course. I was going to mention Mark Kimmer because he hasn't got any points on the board, but he can just drop this pre-final and final in the championship standings. So even though he's watching from the sidelines, it's definitely not game over for him in the championship, having got maximum points from Sal Breeze. But these guys will want to score as many points as physically possible to get that championship lead down.
Yeah, because obviously Mark Kimber hasn't seen the track before, so it's very hard for him. And I think he's actually done a very good job to even get where he got, because I think he actually got second in the second chance heat, but he unfortunately got a nose cone. So everyone just wants to score as much points as possible, because no doubt that Kimber will be very good in the next 2 rounds.
So still, it is going to be a tough fight as Joe Turney leads the way from Brown Nutley, Ravenscroft, Elie Goldstein, Henke Waldschmidt from Koolen, Godefroy, Liedmar, Akabi, Valva, and Danny Curl just outside the top 10. There goes Godefroy. Godefroy makes the move on the inside, and Ali Akabi is up the inside of Sim Liedmar as well. So some good battles there, some great racecraft. And outside the top 10, we have Danny Curl in 11th from Felix Barger. Then it is Ruben Moya. Then chasing after them, Pico, Mulsdale, Valtonen, Ruvers, Marceau, Petele from Bunshu, Alexievas and Rens van Pelt, who is having a really nightmarish race after starting so strong. Sean Butcher likewise, double winner of course. Sean Butcher should be further up the field in my opinion, but he's had no luck today compared to yesterday. Morgan Porter, Camille Pretot, Joey van Spunteren, Harry Platten, Thomas Imborg, and then completing the field we have Fleming, de Grand, Fires, Seville Martin, Lintucanto and Bayet. And there they come as they go through turn 1 once again. No retirements, just an awful lot of hustling round there as they continue to battle away. And we are on the 7th lap of 18. There's still a long way to go, and we still don't really know who is going to get this victory. Could be any one of the top 5, but then in 6th position chasing after them is Niels Koolen, and he's won a race so far this weekend, so he knows how to get the job done.
Yeah, Niels Koolen did win a race, which is very good, because I don't think he's ever won a race before at this level, and I know that he can do very well in this race.
So there in 6th position as he tries to make progress. Ravenscroft has dragged Goldstein and Waldschmidt onto the tail of Jordan Brown Nutley. So for Clayton Ravenscroft, it's definitely not game over. We are 1/3 distance through, 6 down, 12 to go, including this one. So when they come over the line, there'll be 11 laps left, and they have still got to keep pounding around at full tempo all the way round it. Joe Turney, Jordan Brown Nutley goes for the lead, and Brown Nutley makes the move stick into the first corner, but he's run wide on the exit. Turney's going to come back through, and here's a chance for Ravenscroft. Got very late on the brakes there to dive in and actually hit his teammate, but somehow managed to get through. So that was very nicely done from Ravenscroft into second position, but I wonder, with that sort of charge into the back of Turney, you've got to be considering the possibility of a nose cone. If it has been dislodged, then that's going to be a cruel rob of a penalty there.
Yeah, that wouldn't be very fair, I don't think, because I think it was just one of those moves where there's just not enough room. But there was enough room, but there's just not enough space for it to happen. So I just think that wouldn't be fair.
Well, I hope against hope that all of the drivers are going to come away from that one without any nose cone issues. That was a big knock, but it takes quite a lot to knock those nose cone fairings out of place, to be fair. You've got to be very careful about how you go about your motor racing, and there are definite ways you can get it dislodged, but a move like that he might be able to get away with. Goldstein up the inside of Brown Nutley. Third position, still up for grabs. He doesn't make the move stick. Meanwhile, further back, it looks to me as though Angus Moulsdale is biting off a lot more than he's able to chew at the moment as he fights his way back onto the tail of the group chasing after Danny Curl. So a good little battle there. The fastest lap of the race comes from the local man, Felix Warge, who has done a very good job there. But the 318 is still moving forward. Warge is actually up into 9th place now, so it's a good comeback after falling down the order in one of the previous races. But it's 1 and 2 once again for the Cosmic Racing Sport team. Joe Turney and Clayton Ravenscroft, 1 and 2. Brown Nutley in 3rd. 4th, Illy Goldstein. And he is going to be still everybody's race favourite. We're still waiting to see what the weather is doing. Oh, there's a yellow flag. We've got 2 or 3 carts off up at turn 7. That's all gone very badly wrong for 3 of them. And it looks like it's front runners Godefroid, Liedmar and Ali Akabi involved in that one. So that's 3 big names as Ravenscroft takes the lead of the race back halfway home. Ravenscroft is leading. 9 down, 9 to go. And we've lost Godefroid, Liedmar and Akabi from the top 10 battle. That opens up several drivers to move further forward. But that's a real disaster for Akabi, Godefroid and Liedmar.
Yeah, because they are putting some very good laps in, closing in on the leader, but they must have just got too close for comfort and just crashed out, unfortunately.
Well, Turney has gone back past his teammate Ravenscroft for the moment, so they're swapping positions, but it's definitely going to be a winner from these 6, isn't it? As Goldstein tries to get on the inside of Brown Nutley, hasn't been able to get there. Waldschmidt in 5th from Niels Kuhlen, and they are going to go down the inside again. Brown Nutley trying to get on the inside of Ravenscroft. Don't even think about it, says Clayton. And Illy Goldstein tried his best to get into 3rd place there, wasn't able to make it happen, so he's now going to have to struggle. Now Goldstein up the inside for 3rd position. Jordan Brown Nutley going to try and squeeze him out as they come over the curbs down the main straight. Look at this squabble. Joe Turney is being allowed a country mile in front. Clayton Ravenscroft determined to hang on to 2nd position. Jordan Brown Nutley in 3rd from Goldstein, Waldschmidt and Kuhlen. And then in 7th place, that looks to me like Felix Warge has come back up the order. So Warge is actually working very hard here to move his way further forward. So this is going to be a really interesting run to the flag for these guys. So Felix Warge is going very well indeed. But Clayton Ravenscroft still hanging on a 2nd, and Goldstein's down to 6th place now. Waldschmidt through, Kuhlen through. A tough race here for Illy Goldstein, and he is working so hard to get to the top of the dais on home soil, but it looks like it's going to be a British 1-2. 3, in fact, at the moment, because we've got Turney, Ravenscroft and Brown Nutley in the top 3, and that just shows, the pace and the level of senior X30 drivers. You're a racer not just here in Europe, but also in the senior X30 and junior X30 back in Britain. The top quality level of X30 racing back in the UK is incredible, and that's why we see so many of these talents at the sharp end in Europe.
Yeah, Britain has some very good drivers, and I think it's just the way that we get the drivers to get the most out of the car, and I just think it's the way that we work back in Britain, and I think that's why we get some of the best drivers out of our country.
Goldstein is desperately struggling to hang on here, down to 6th position in front of Felix Warge, and that's a really big problem as far as he is concerned, because Goldstein wanted to be leading this race from the top 5. Top 6, sorry. Goldstein has now dropped Niels Kuhlen into the clutches of Warge, Pico and Danny Curl as they battle away to close up. And they're not too far away from the leaders now either. Those 2 or 3 drivers that were in the hunt a little further back, they are starting to get into this now. Danny Curl has got past Nicolas Pico and is up into 8th place. So the reigning world champion may still have a part to play in this one.
Yeah, Danny Curl is a very, very good driver. And whenever you think that you've seen the best of him, he just pulls something out of the bag.
So Danny Curl trying to make progress as he goes forward. He's behind these 2 at the moment as they come through. Nicolas Pico and Niels Kuhlen. Curl is in 9th place. They're going to battle. Careful, guys. Give each other room. Well, that was nicely done by Niels Kuhlen. But now straight away, back on the inside comes Nicolas Pico, who will still feel aggrieved that he's not further up the order because he was very fast over the course of practice and qualifying. So Nicolas Pico is one of those drivers who, over 1 lap, there's very few to beat him. But in racecraft, he's always been one of those drivers who gets hung out to dry. It's very unfortunate when you've got a driver who over 1 lap is flawless, Jarno Trulli style. But unfortunately, Jarno Trulli only ever won one Grand Prix in his life, and that was Monaco, when overtaking was very difficult. So it was always going to be a tough battle for him, and you can kind of see that in the world of karting as well. Drivers who are good over one lap is one thing. To keep it going over the course of 18 laps in racecraft and in tough battles, that's a different matter.
Yeah, because you can be fast on one lap, but then when you get hung out to dry, you lose a lot of time. Whereas the drivers who maybe are a couple of tenths off but more consistent, they're the ones who are going to finish nearer the front.
4 laps to go, and Clayton Ravenscroft has not given up, closing up on the leader Joe Turney. This is the battle a little bit further back. We're watching Isaac Valtonen, Philip Vava and Angus Mulsdale, the reigning junior X30 European champion, having made the step up to seniors this year. He's made a very good start of it and has worked very well in the early stages. So now it's just a question of continuing on this good pace. Joe Turney, Clayton Ravenscroft, and now into third place has come Henrik Waldschmidt. So Waldschmidt has moved up into P3. That leaves Jordan Brown-Nutley vulnerable to Ellie Goldstein. And that is going to be an interesting battle. But Joe Turney has got pace. Clayton Ravenscroft has got determination. And what if these two now get into the battle with 2 laps to go? 3 laps to go as they come across this time. But in the last 2 laps, look, Turney is defending from Clayton Ravenscroft. Ravenscroft is going to try and sweep through on the inside line. Here he goes. Turney's not leaving him any room. The 2 teammates touch. And Ravenscroft gets spun out. 3rd position now, 4th position. Joe Turney absolutely determined that his teammate wasn't going to come by. Shades of Hamilton and Rosberg, and Turney's collided. Turney's gone off there with Jordan Brown-Nutley. They both recover, but that is absolute heartbreak for both of them. Neither of them is going to win this final. So who's in the lead now? I think it is, well, that is Goldstein battling away. That's never the lead of the race. It's 2nd position behind Waldschmidt. I really would have eaten my hat then if Goldstein had gone into the lead from all of that. But now look at the top 3. We've got Henke Waldschmidt, Elie Goldstein and Felix Warge. That's a really impressive top 3. Ravenscroft is in 4th, so he still has a chance, but now he's only got 2 laps to make progress. But him and his teammate Joe Turney tangling together. I said shades of Hamilton and Rosberg. I wasn't really as far away from the truth as I intended to be.
Yeah, I think because obviously everyone wants to get the win, and I just think it got tangled up there. I just think both of them were a little bit too desperate, and it ended up in a crash.
And now that means that Waldschmidt is leading the way. Goldstein in 2nd from his countryman Felix Warge, and Clayton Ravenscroft in 4th place, desperately trying to catch him. Now, that's the best of a bad jog from Ravenscroft, isn't it, in 4th position, because that's still very good championship points, and he'll be very happy when he looks back on it and looks at the tally and realises, I haven't lost that much in terms of positions, but that's going to be a tricky one to explain when him and Joe Turney get back to it. They're good mates, those two, as well. So I wonder what they're going to be like when they get back to the pits.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be some arguments, I can tell, but I'm sure they'll resolve them.
Elie Goldstein has got one more lap to try and get on terms with the Dutchman out in front. He's been there, he's done it all, from the Formula Renault Euro Cup 2 Leader Series to European Formula 3. He even got the call up from the Toyota Formula 1 team in their dying days to do some testing for them. So Henke Waldschmidt has been to the top of the tree and seen it all, loves his senior karting and knows that this is always going to be a tough battle. But he came to battle exactly when he needed to, and he's going to win Senior X30 if he keeps this up. But Elie Goldstein at least is going to get on the podium in his battle with Felix Warge if he can continue this sort of pace. It's been a really interesting Senior X30 final. I'm not sure many people would have said, oh, Henke Waldschmidt for the win, no problem. But we knew he was always going to be a factor. He comes through those final few corners. Elie Goldstein, I think, is going to have enough on Felix Warge to finish the podium, those two. But Henke Waldschmidt has risen to the A game. We thought he might be a Magic Master, but here he comes. Henke Waldschmidt is victorious in Mariembourg. And it's an amazing result for Waldschmidt. Superb drive from the Dutchman, the Flying Dutchman. Henke Waldschmidt has done it in style. 2nd place for Elie Goldstein, 3rd place for Felix Warge. Clayton Ravenscroft came home in 4th in front of his teammate Joe Turney. And let's put it this way, I'm not going to be the person, I don't want to be the person in the Chaos Sport awning after that one. They were 1st and 2nd, and with 3 laps to go, that all unravelled very quickly.
Yeah, that won't be the best of situations, but I just think sometimes that happens, like with Hamilton and Rosberg the same. I just think when they get too desperate, then it all goes wrong.
We had a couple of drivers off by the end of the race as well. Ben Fayers and Tom Fleming unfortunately didn't come home on the last lap either, but Henke Waldschmidt taking the victory from Elie Godstein and Felix Wager, Clayton Ravenscroft and Joe Turney 4th and 5th from Nicolas Pico and Niels Kuhlen, Danny Curl in the top 10 from Isaac Valtonen and Jordan Brown Nutley, then Angus Morsdale and Milan Petelet, Vincent Marceau, Ruben Moyer, Sean Butcher and Morgan Porter from Ruvers, Platten, Bruteau and Van Splutteren in the top 20. Then Rens van Pelt, Thomas Imburg, Danny Bunshu, Philip Valva. And then behind them, Sebastian de Grand, Livali Ducanto, Sylvester Alexeyevas. And then Ben Fayers did eventually come across the line for 28th. But Fleming out, as well as Godefroid, Bayet, Liedmar, Ali Akabi and Carlos Saval Martin. What an incredible race, though, that was, Rufus. Really incredible battles throughout.
Yeah, it was a really good race. Like, you could have never thought that Henke Waldschmidt would have won the race, but it just shows how quickly the tables can turn.
Well, fantastic racing it's been here in the second round of the IAME X30 European Series. My thanks to you, Rufus, for joining us in the commentary box. It's been great to have this opportunity to share it with you, and hopefully it won't be the last time.
Thank you, Jake.
A very, very good race from everybody and an absolutely fantastic display from each of the 4 classes. We now have our winners. We'll await official confirmation before we have our podium ceremony. But over the line, Melendez victorious in X30 Minis, in X30 Super Shifters, Stendorian Pirimagi for the second weekend running, just like Alejandro Melendez. In the X30 Juniors, Enzo Juliet, the Montpellier Master, coming through in third position, third winner of the race, I should say, sorry. And then the 4th winner is the Dutchman, the Flying Dutchman, Henke Waldschmidt. What an amazing weekend it's been here at Mariembourg. We're going to have to wait another 5 weeks to go abroad again for the next round of the championship in the IAME X30 European Series at the beautiful Wackersdorf circuit in Germany. We all look forward to that one. It's going to be a great next weekend of the championship. Lots of stories have been written and developed. We want to thank everybody from the Royal Automobile Club of Belgium, all of the marshals and everybody here who've been keeping us safe and sound all weekend. They've done an absolutely sterling job and great work from all of them. A massive thank you to everybody at the RGMMC staff as well, from the top end of the administration and the organisation all the way through to all of the work staff in the production team and everybody all the way through the weekend. It's been absolutely amazing. We still have the podiums to come, but for those who are tuning out, this is Jake Sanson from the commentary box position saying thank you to everybody who's been listening and watching, and we'll see you all again in 5 weeks' time for the next round of the championship at Wackersdorf. Podiums to come for those watching on the live stream, but thank you to all of those who have been here. What an amazing weekend it's been.
Hi, I'm Tom Ingram and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Jacques Villeneuve. You're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Bruno Senna. You're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Chris Hoy, and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Landon Norris, and you're listening to Downforce Radio.